There are places in this world where silence holds its own voice, where the sea, the mountain, and the wind breathe in harmony. One such place lies off the coast of Hiroshima, the island of Miyajima, once forbidden to death and birth, a sacred land where nature itself was considered divine. Among these sacred grounds once stood a pine, pale as winter snow, growing in stillness for centuries. The Miyajima White Pine was not planted for beauty or display. It was grown as an act of reverence, a living symbol of purity in a world that changes too fast to remember its roots. Through wars, storms, and time itself, this bonsai carried the quiet endurance of Japan's spirit. It survived history not by strength, but by stillness, preserved by generations of caretakers who saw it not as property, but as prayer in living form. In this story, we do not speak of technique or perfection. We speak of spirit. For every rare bonsai is not just a creation. It is a memory, a silent conversation between time and life itself. Miyajima, or Itsukushima, is more than an island. For over 1,000 years, it has been regarded as a divine realm, where mountains, sea, and forest form a single spirit. No birth, no death. For centuries, these were forbidden here. To keep the island pure, untouched by human imperfection, it was believed that even stepping too far into its forests was to enter the dwelling place of the gods. To understand the Miyajima White Pine, we must understand Shinto, the ancient faith of Japan. In Shinto, nature is not worshipped, it is revered. Every tree, every stone, every breath of wind is believed to hold kami, the living essence of the divine. To tend a bonsai, in this belief, is not to control nature, but to listen to it, to bring harmony between the human hand and the eternal flow of life. Legends say the sacred pine of Miyajima was first planted near the shrine's inner garden over 3 centuries ago, not as ornament, but as offering. Its pale needles and slender trunk were seen as a reflection of purity and humility. In the Edo period, priests began to cultivate small pines from its seeds, bonsai that carried the island's sacred spirit beyond its shores. Few of those trees remain today. Each one is a living fragment of Japan's spiritual memory. The Miyajima White Pine is more than 400 years old. It stands as one of Japan's oldest living bonsai. Its roots once nourished by the sacred soil of Itsukushima Shrine. Its bark is silver gray, roughened by centuries of wind and salt air. Every curve of its trunk tells a story, not of artifice, but of endurance. This is not a tree grown for display. It is a tree that has lived through time itself. Through the Edo, Meiji, and Showa periods, the tree passed from the hands of monks to bonsai masters, each treating it as a sacred duty, not ownership. In modern times, the pine was entrusted to the Omiya Bonsai Art Museum, where it continues to live under precise care. Its roots measured, its soil balanced, its breath preserved. Every caretaker knows they are not shaping a tree. They are preserving a story that outlives them all. The Miyajima pine survived not only the passing of empires, but also the atomic fire that once engulfed Hiroshima Bay. While forests turned to ash, this ancient bonsai endured, protected, moved, and nurtured by human compassion. It stands today as a quiet survivor, a symbol that life, in its stillest form, can outlast destruction. In its silence lies the memory of everything lost, and everything still worth protecting. The Miyajima White Pine speaks in silence. Its message cannot be written or spoken, only felt, in the stillness between breaths. The Japanese call this ma, the sacred space between things, where meaning lives not in form, but in emptiness. To look upon this tree is to be reminded that silence is not absence, but presence beyond words. the Shinto tradition, purity is not perfection. It is renewal. Water cleanses not because it erases, but because it allows the world to begin again. The Miyajima pine embodies that purity, weathered, scarred, and yet alive. Its beauty lies not in flawlessness, but in the harmony between strength and surrender. In Zen, there is a truth that all beauty fades, and that is why it matters. The pine's needles will fall. Its bark will crack. One day, even this tree will return to the soil. But that does not diminish its worth. It completes it. Mono no aware, the gentle sadness of things, reminds us that impermanence is not tragedy. It is the proof that we are alive, sharing time with something that will never come again. The Miyajima White Pine is not just a tree, it is a living record of centuries. It has outlived empires, earthquakes, and wars. Its survival is no accident, it is devotion, carried by countless hands. Each caretaker becomes a part of its story, their lives intertwined with its roots. This is what makes bonsai different from any other art. It does not end with the artist, it continues to breathe through time. In the Omiya Bonsai Museum, every rare tree is treated like a national treasure. Temperature, humidity, light, all measured with precision. But beyond technology, what preserves them is reverence. The masters of Omiya see themselves not as owners, but as guardians of spirit. To them, tending to a bonsai is not maintenance, it is meditation, a ritual that connects them to the ancestors who once shaped these trees. The science behind bonsai preservation has evolved. From traditional soil mixes to controlled root environments, experts document each tree's condition, lineage, and response to care. In the case of the Miyajima pine, even genetic sampling has been used to ensure its survival. But beyond data and methods lies something deeper, a shared human vow. That beauty worth remembering must never be left to die. In a world that moves faster than ever, patience has become a forgotten virtue. We chase growth without roots, success without stillness. But here, in the silence of a bonsai garden, time flows differently. The Miyajima White Pine reminds us that true progress is not speed, but endurance. that to grow, one must first learn to stay still. The Miyajima White Pine does not speak, yet it teaches through its silence. Its form, its scars, its endurance, all tell the story of balance. It bends, but does not break. It ages, yet never loses grace. In its quiet way, it reflects the truth of life itself. That beauty is not perfection, it is harmony between struggle and peace. Every generation that sees this tree finds a different meaning. To some, it is strength. To others, it is faith. But to all, it is a reminder that even in a fleeting world, something eternal still breathes. The Miyajima White Pine stands as a bridge between man and nature, between the sacred and the real. And in its silence, it tells us everything we have forgotten to hear. When the wind passes through its branches, it carries the voice of centuries. The Miyajima White Pine does not need to move to be alive. Its stillness is life. For hundreds of years, it has watched generations come and go, untouched by their noise, unmoved by their haste. In that silence, it has found peace. And maybe that is what we've been searching for all along. Time has tried to erase it, storms, wars, human desire. Yet it remains, rooted not in soil, but in devotion. The Miyajima White Pine reminds us that immortality is not the absence of death. It is the continuity of care, love, and remembrance. A tree becomes eternal when people choose to remember it. As the day ends on the island of gods, the pine stands, as it always has. It waits, it breathes, it simply is. In that eternal return of silence and wind, we are reminded that everything sacred never truly disappears. It only changes form, like the spirit of the tree, still alive in the hearts of those who see it. And in that moment, we understand the story was never about the tree. It was about us. As the tides of Miyajima retreat, they reveal more than just sand and stone. They reveal the soul of a place where time stands still. The white pine that endures here is not a monument of human craft, but a symbol of nature's patience and grace. Its roots cling to rock, its branches shaped by the wind. And yet, it continues to live, as if untouched by centuries. To the people of Japan, it is not simply a tree. It is a silent teacher, reminding us that divinity exists not above us, but within every grain of sand, every leaf, every breath of wind that passes through its needles. Across generations, monks, travelers, and bonsai masters have drawn wisdom from this sacred tree. Some shaped their art in its image. Others carried its story across oceans, preserving its essence in miniature form. The white pine bonsai, a living echo of the island itself. Through these small trees, the legacy of Miyajima breathes beyond Japan. It reaches those who see in bonsai not a craft, but a way of seeing the world. A balance between fragility and strength, silence and spirit. In the end, the story of the Miyajima White Pine is not just about survival. It is about harmony. Harmony between the sea and the mountain. Between what is sacred and what is mortal. And so, as the waves return to embrace the island, the spirit of the white pine whispers once more, that to live with purpose, one must first learn to stand still. This is Ethereal Bonsai, where trees tell stories, and silence speaks.